One of the biggest causes of death in Fortnite in squads and duos is miscommunication. In this video, I'll share some common callouts used by pro players and the Fortnite community. Stay tuned.
Get out of my game, son!
What's up, everybody? It's Nate here. So I'm going to be going over all of these callouts. I made this little thing to show you guys all the callouts here, and we have multiple different zooming in variants. So it gives extra callouts for each little spot, like the yellow spot, the green spot, some spots over here, etc. So we're going to be showing you guys all of these and the new pallet house place that we call. So I'm going to be going over all of these real quickly. So we're going to start off with the colors. You can see each one is color coded. We're going to start with castle. The middle spot, we call it castle. Some people call it Trump. And right next to it is pallet house. This place has just been added into the game. Very good for getting tons of pallets just coming out of castle. Very good strat to do. You could spawn there, get the chest, go get the pallets quickly. Right here is apartments. People call it apartments all the time. Basketball right next to it to the side over here. Wait, let me fix this for you guys. Basketball right here. Tacos is on the side right here. People call it tacos all the time as well. And noms. These two actually have names on the signs. That's why we call it that. These callouts. Hideout is right here. So if someone ever goes over here and your teammate says, "Oh, there's a guy in hideout," it means that he's in this underground section of the map, which has a chest in it. Also, obviously, this is park. Corner is right here. Some people like to hide in the corner lately, right here, and wait till people leave Bone House, which is right here in the white. It's called Bone for a reason, because the top here you can see it looks like a bone. Some people call it blue as well. So it's either blue or bone, depending on what you and your friends call it. Some of these have like variants, right? This is clock or clock tower. This one's called W because it looks like two U's. You can see it like this. A U here and a sideways U here. So it's double U. Does that make sense? This is pawn shop. It literally in the front here, you can, if on another angle, you can see it says pawn. We'll get to that. So back onto this side of the map. We have a big garage. The reason why it's called big garage is because there's another garage here, which we'll get to again once in a little bit. Pocket is here. People tend to hide or stick to this pocket area, and sometimes they mine the tree as well. So if your teammate says there's a guy in pocket, then you know that they're just, when you're leaving tilted. Once you're leaving castle rather, or noms, you can know there's going to be a guy to your side right in pocket. Over here is L's. So there's little L and big L. As you can see, they literally look like L's, so it's self-explanatory. And then over here is L hill. It's logical to say that a hill is named after the location that it's next to. So, for example, here's fish. As you can see, it looks like kind of like a fish house, right, on the top of the roof. So it's fish here, and then fish hill on the side there. Here's exit. This is we call it exit because it leaves out of tilted. It's one of the main exits. And bus stop is right next to it, and convenience. So these two are really useful callouts as well, because there tends to be some people walking across here every once in a while when they leave from basketball. We're going to scroll down a little bit and move over here. So this is called tent because inside this little shack there's a tent, but we can't call it shack sadly because there's a shack here, there's a shack here, and there's a shack here, right? So we need a different name for it. So in tilted, if you hear someone say there's a guy at tent, then you know there's a guy hiding in here camping. Close by to it is the twins. We call it the twins because there's two trees. And people tend to, like on 50-50, you'll see a lot of people sitting up here. So it's very useful for that call up. Low shack is down here. People sometimes stick behind right here where my crosshair is. They usually stay right here when you're on this hill way down over here. And they'll shoot at you, they'll snipe at you. So it's good to know this call out when your teammate says they're behind shack. When they say they're behind shack, it's mostly going to mean that they're on this side somewhere or inside. On the river, this is just obvious. I don't think I need to explain that. This is river way because it's a way to the river. There tends to be some people that there tends to be like loot that spawns underneath the staircase. So stairs is a call out that is used quite often in this, because especially if you're leaving, there might be a shotgun that spawns down here or something else. So up here on the side is Everest, because it's the tallest mountain on this side. So we call it Everest. Kind of easy to remember. Tallest mountain is Everest in real life. So Everest is the tallest on this. And then on this side, it's going to be low Everest, because there tends to be people who, if you're at W, there's sometimes people shooting from this hill, and they can hit you from that side. So it's a vantage point that you need to have known as a call out, because if they're up here, like you can see them from castle, but you can't see them if you're at W. So it's a call out that is useful. Here's flat, because it's relatively flat. High shack is on this side right here, because it's on the high ground. And corner right here. I think we said that a moment ago. We'll rotate a little bit around. So this is Soccer Road. This call is used sometimes, not as often, but it can be useful. Sometimes you catch people crossing over here. Ruins, there tends to be more often than you'd expect. There's people over here. So this is a good call right here. So this hill as well is called, we split it up into two halves because it's just such a long mountain that's covering tilted. It's really useful this way if you split it up into two. On one side, you can call it Taco Hill, and the other side, Basketball Hill. That way, the moment you say there's someone on the hill, like if you're in park, and you say, "Oh, there's a guy on the hill," right? Your teammates are gonna be like, "Oh, okay, what hill?" Right? And then you're going to be like, "Oh, this way, up towards RVs is north, right?" So you're gonna be like, "Oh, the north side," right? But then your teammate's gonna be like, "Wait, what?" Right? So if you say Taco Hill, it's super obvious that you're talking about the left side of the hill, right? Or if you say Basketball Hill, it's super obvious. And if you give a bearing to it as well, then it can refine where they think the enemy's going to be by a lot, and it can help you guys really fast. Over here is RVs. I think that's the last one of these little callouts, if I am correct. And then we're going to switch to these other callouts. Oh yeah, and the last one actually is underpass right here. Tends to be people all the time down here. So that's another call out. We're going to switch over here to the second window. So as you can see, right now we're looking at Fish House and Fish Hill. So this is a refined callouts of this spot. So this is Fish Building, and this is Fish Hill. So down here is Mini Mart. This is Lobby, because it's like a lobby going into the building. This is Open. Right here is Open because it's as in an open window, right? There tends to be people that get the chest and they start shooting people off the bat. So be careful with this window, obviously. It can be a really useful call out, especially when you guys just spawn, because you guys might be getting shot at, and you'll be like, open, 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 you know? And then your teammates will know immediately that it's open window. Over here is Castle Top. I don't really need to show this again. I think you guys know where it is, but we're going to show these mini callouts. So this is Castle Top up here. Up here is Castle Top. It's pretty obvious why. You can also, I guess you could call it Trump Top, or you can make your own callouts for this, but these are the callouts I use and a whole bunch of other players use. This is Vent. This entire area is here called Vent. There tends to be people that land here and take the weapon that spawns there, and then move in. So if you say to your teammates, if you both spawn up top, or you guys are down here, and you guys are like, "Oh, there's a guy on Vent, help me," right? They're gonna know immediately. They're gonna come over here. They're gonna wait right there, and they're gonna know the guy's still camping on Vent, so they're gonna be able to kill him easily. This is Moat. The reason why is it looks like a castle moat if you look at it from this angle. Library is down here, and dining is right here. Pretty obviously why. There's a library in there, and it's like a dining room in there. On to the next one. So W is right here. If we show you guys this again, and we scroll over here, So this is W, this is pawn. So W is right here, and pawn is right here. Roadway is right here. This is a call out because people tend to like sit right here and right here on next to roadway, and then when you're up here, you might hear them walking around. So it's kind of a there tends to be a lot of players that stick around in this one area sometimes, but not that often. It's like it's a good call out to just to know, just in case though. So clock, obviously, and clock tower and bone / blue, because the blue house color and the bone shaped ceiling, and then park is right here as well, just for another angle for you guys to see. So this is the apartment top. It doesn't really need a call out, but I mean still, it's if someone's up there, then you can call it out. Umbrella right here, this entire section, not just umbrella, like not just the umbrella, the entire section right here is umbrella. If someone's shooting you from there, you'll know, because your teammate will call it out. This is garage, and right here obviously is big garage, right? So you need to know the difference, because this garage is kind of more important than this garage, to be honest. That's why this one's called garage, because you tend to fight people more often right here than right here. Laundry is right here. This entire section is laundry on the bottom floor. So yeah, these callouts here are really useful. As you go up in levels, that's mostly for you to name those things. But if you guys want me to make a callouts for each individual floor, let me know, and I'll make callouts for those. Okay, so this is the new spot on the map. They just added in. End of Season 4, Season 5 is Fortnite Season 5. It's the new spot on the block, you know. We call it Pallet House. Some people are calling it Pallet Town, which does not make sense because there's another spot on the map I've made a video about called Pallet Town already by the call out. And if you call both of them Pallet Town, you're just going to confuse yourself and you're going to confuse your teammates. So this one's Pallet House, especially because it's not even a town anyways. So this right here, you call it Center of Pallets, or you can call it Center. I prefer Center, but I added Center of Pallets, that way people know. This is balcony, only spot where it's like kind of like a balcony, you know, so I call it balcony at least. So down here is basement. I'll show that again in a moment. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then in a second you'll obviously know. Right here is obviously this spot right here with the pallets. This is the only spot you should be calling pallets, because there's literally so many. It's so obvious if someone is pallets. Okay, so if you're over here and you see someone and you call it out to your teammate, like over here, and you're like, there's a guy in pallets, right? You shouldn't be talking about this pallet. You should be talking about this pallet. You know, because if you're talking about this pallet, that's not gonna help them. Make sure you guys all know that pallets means this spot. You know. Make sure your teammates know these callouts as well, because if your teammates don't know these callouts, then it's useless, you know? So this is basement as well, as you guys can see. The basement of this building. If you enjoyed this video, guys, leave a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below what place you want me to do next in a video for callouts. Make sure to check out this playlist and this suggested video here, and I'll see you guys all in the next one, and don't forget to subscribe.